Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is preseason game number 2 for the New York Giants. I am Coach Gene Clemons, taking you up till kickoff or getting you ready for kickoff. I'm right here. I have a giant issue. Let's have a little bit of fun.
3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of A Giant Issue. I am Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. Make sure, especially because there's about to be a preseason football game, that you go to the New York Giants on SI website for all of your news and information pertaining to the New York Giants, and make sure that you are subscribed to the New York Giants on SI YouTube channel. That's right here. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so you'll know anytime I drop a new video, anytime there's a new Big Blue breakdown, anytime there's any content that has to do with the New York Giants, you're going to find it right here on the New York Giants on SI. I'm excited about preseason game number 2 because I am excited to see what this is going to look like today, right? This is, well, let me rewind. The moment they announced that Daniel Jones was going to play, we all kind of knew that this was going to be a dress rehearsal, right? That this was going to be an opportunity for us to see all of the starters, or at least all of the starters that's available. Now, it's unfortunate because we're most likely not going to see Malik Neighbors, right? Because why risk it if he's dealing with an injury? All the reports say that he'll be ready for the beginning of the season, but we'll see. Now, I did get a little bit, and again, I'm getting this like hot off the presses, so you guys can just bear with me. Patricia Traina, our boss, our editor over at New York Giants on SI, she just sent me a message that said Malik Neighbors is supposed to play. See, I thought Malik Neighbors wasn't going to play, and so you can see how I'm all up. I thought Malik Neighbors was not going to play, and according to Patricia Traina, and there's nobody more plugged in than Patricia Traina when it comes to the New York Giants, she's reporting that Malik Neighbors is supposed to play, right? So that's great. Tracy, we're not really sure whether or not Tyrone Tracy is going to play. No Runyon, right? And surprisingly, no Cordell Flott, who I believe needs to play more to kind of show that he can be the cornerback 2 opposite of Deonte Banks. So that's unfortunate that we don't see Runyon. It's unfortunately we don't see Flott. I'm interested though, right? Because if we are getting Malik Neighbors with Daniel Jones, that means we're going to see the legitimate offense out there. Most likely, if they're playing, then maybe Singletary's playing as well. Now, I would tell you as a coach, I probably wouldn't play Singletary because I don't need to figure out what he can do, right? I don't need to figure out what Singletary can do. I know what Singletary can do. I need to figure out what the other guys behind him are going to do. So I probably wouldn't play Singletary, and shout out Jackson Black. And it is right. I think that this Giants team has an opportunity to surprise some people because so many people have gone overboard on how bad they think the team is, right? But I digress. I don't know what it's going to look like in there. Here's what I am interested in. Evan Neal, who is back, where is he playing? Is he going to get starter reps, or is he now strictly relegated to a backup? Right? Like you have to remember, I know you guys don't like him, but he never lost his job. He got injured. And so because he wasn't ready to go at the beginning of training camp, they made moves, they made changes. But I don't understand why you wouldn't see what he can do. So even if he's not getting starter reps, right? Even if he doesn't get starter reps, I'd like to see him play some extensive snaps so that we can see if some of the issues that he had in pass protection are beginning to get fixed. And if not, when are we going to make this move? When are we going to make this change? You can't just allow a talent like him to just sit on the sideline because you don't think he'll be good, right, at tackle. If you don't think he'll be good at tackle, you have to immediately figure out where he is at guard, because I don't care what any of y'all say. He's going to be a better guard than Runyon Jr. and Van Roten, right? He's going, if you're trying to put the 5 best offensive linemen on the field at one time, right? If you're trying to put the 5 best offensive linemen on the field at one time, then there's no way you can do that and not put Evan Neal out there. He's not as bad of a tackle as most people think he is. And I've been on record from the moment he was drafted saying, I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber guard. So I want to see if he gets some reps. No John Runyon Jr. playing, which means who's playing the left guard, right? Who's going to be over there at left guard? Will it be Stinney, right? Will Van Roten be at right guard? I have questions. I just want to see what it looks like, right? But we're going to get the bookends on the outside. Illuminor will get another opportunity to show that he can be the man over there against a Houston Texans pass rush that is very good, that has some dynamic edge rushers on it. So we'll get some legitimate competition. The wide receiving core, they have a lot to prove, because last week, right, with Jalen Hyatt and with Malik Neighbors out there with the second team and with the second team quarterback, they didn't really do anything. They didn't really produce. So now with Daniel Jones here, will we see the production that we've seen in the practices, that we've seen in the joint practices? Will we see that production show up again? Or is it one of those situations that now that the lights are on, we're not getting that production? I'm really excited to see what that offense is going to look like. Defensively, I want to see what it looks like when if I'm a coach of the Giants and we get a chance to unleash both Evan Neal, both Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns with Lawrence up the middle, and then I'm assuming Nacho at 3 technique. Like I'm interested to see what that looks like. I want to be able to see how, you know what I'm saying, that feels. I want to see how that feels. Jackson says, I like Evan Neal. I've been following him on Instagram all through the offseason. Seems like a very good, mature guy with a smart head on his shoulders. He's very mature. He's always been mature. He came into college as a starter. Like, he walked into college as a starter. And so he's been kind of beyond his years. I think that's why most people don't recognize that he's only 23 years old, right? Like, you just can't be out here trying to pull the plug on 23-year-old athletic freaks that play offensive line. But I want to see what that pass rush looks like. I want to see what that front seven, right? That front seven. I want to see what that front seven looks like. Front six, really, because a lot of times they're playing, a nickel. I want to see what the nickelback position looks like. I want to see how they use Isaiah Simmons. I'm really going to be upset if this team waste Isaiah Simmons. Like if you're going to use him as a nickel, then he should definitely be coming off edge, blitzing at times. I've been saying all off season that with Brian Burns here, you might see a pass rush package that has Azeez Ojulari inside. Now, we've heard reports that that might actually happen. Can you imagine a foursome up front where you've got Kayvon and Burns on the outside, Ojulari at the 3 technique, and Lawrence at the nose? Sliding into that weak side or that strong side A gap with Ojulari rushing from the 3 technique. Now who gets doubled, right? Like Lawrence has to get doubled inside. He has to get doubled inside. There's a center in the guard, which means a one-on-one for either Burns or Thibodeau. And then on the other side, you have 2 one-on-ones. You have Thibodeau and Burns. I'm sorry, Thibodeau and Ojulari, or Burns and Ojulari on the other side, one-on-one versus offensive linemen. I like the Giants' chances if that's the case. And if you mess around and you don't double team Dexter Lawrence on an obvious pass rushing situation, he's going to explode into the backfield. The quarterback's going to have to scramble, and he's going to scramble into one of these 2 dudes on the outside. You're not getting by them unless you're like Lamar Jackson, right? That's the only person getting by them on a just pure athleticism. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a couple people that might be able to get by them because they're big and strong. And then there's Jaden Daniels, who might be able to get by him because he's essentially a beta version of Lamar Jackson, right? Like he is Lamar Jackson light meaning like he's really little, like really skinny, and quite older than Lamar was when he came into the league. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think the 2 of them are that far apart in age, which is interesting, right? But yeah, so I want to see that. And then obviously outside of seeing Isaiah Simmons and what he's able to do, where they play him, right? How they employ him. I want to see that back end. I want to see Nubin. I want to see Pinnock. I want to see Belton. I want to see who's going to emerge on the back end, right? I think a lot of the talk about the cornerback is overrated. Like, I think they'll be fine because this team's not going to play a bunch of man-to-man coverage. And if you're not playing a bunch of man-to-man coverage, it doesn't matter when we see you getting smoked in man coverage because you're not going to play that a lot, right? So if they're not going to play a lot of man coverage, I think that the cornerbacks will be fine because most of the time they'll be putting themselves in positions to not get beat deep. But the safeties, when you don't play a lot of man coverage, the safeties become extremely important in what you're doing and how you conduct business, right? Because if they're not over the top when those corners are supposed to be down in the first level or second level of passing, when those cornerbacks are jumping hitch routes or crossing routes or whatever, if the safeties are not over the top, that's where you get hit for the big plays. The safeties are the ones who keep the big plays away. It's not the other way around. The safeties are the ones who keep the big plays away. And so if your safeties are keeping the big plays away, I think that's something to watch. If they're giving up big plays, I think that's something to watch. So I'm interested to see what the back end looks like from those two safeties. You know, Pinnock and Belton, I think, are the guys to start with. I think Nubin will come in and spell those guys in particular situations. If they decide to go with a 3-high safety look, you could see Nubin in there. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what they do back there. I want to see how those guys perform. And I'm looking forward to watching the kickoff return team again, right? Because it's not the kickoff team that's the issue with the new kickoff rule. The kickoff team is still the kickoff team. They got to go down, they got to avoid a block, they got to make a tackle. The kickoff return team, your special teams coordinator is going to have to change his mindset with who plays on the kickoff return team, right? Because when a guy's running down and he's 40 yards away from you, and now all you have to do is get to your spot, locate him, go attack him, and then allow your back to make moves. Now y'all are in close quarters, and a lot of linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks don't know how to block in close quarters. So will we start to see more wide receivers making special teams than we have in the past? Like in the past, a lot of your special teamers end up being safeties, linebackers, right? Some defensive ends, because you're more concerned about tackling. But we know that receivers make some of the best are some of the best at avoiding traffic, right? So a lot of times you'll see receivers play gunners on the punt team. You'll see them out at the gunning positions on the kickoff team. So if that's the case on this new kickoff, you might see them flip over as blockers because wide receivers are more in tune with stop blocking, right? With blocking for a runner behind them than linebackers and safeties and defensive ends are. So does that open up the opportunity for more tight ends to make the team? Does that open up the opportunity for more wide receivers to make the team? And when will we start seeing plays being run on the kickoff return team? Right now, it just looks like, oh, we're just dropping back and people are blocking bodies and the return is just trying to find a lane. When will we start seeing folds? When will we start seeing pulling, like guys pulling? When will we start seeing more designs of plays on this thing to continue to make it more dynamic? I think it's doing the job it was supposed to do, which was to make the kickoff safer, right? People who are complaining about this kickoff, they were legitimately trying to legislate the kickoff out of the game. That's why they moved up the ball. There's more touchbacks than ever, so you don't get the kickoffs. Imagine if we don't have the kickoff and the kick return, we don't have some of the legends in the game that did that job. So putting it in a situation that makes it where you almost have to return it, like that should be championed. That shouldn't be like dissed. So I hear all of these people like having issues and dissing the situation, but in my opinion, like what they're doing with the kickoff and subsequent kick return is great for the game. Now we got to start getting the dynamics, right? Now we have to start getting the the situations that allow us to see what comes of the kick return, right? We have to see what comes of it. I am interested in see what that happens. I'm interested in a lot of these battles. The tight end battle is interesting to me, right? If we're just, and I'm just popping around, feel free to leave a comment. What are you looking forward to seeing, right? Because I don't care what Tom Brady said about Daniel Jones. If there's anybody in the world that has the right to take a shot or to diss or to do whatever you want to, whatever you want to call it, it's Tom Brady. Right? Like Tom Brady is the person that is allowed to say, yo, this quarterback hasn't been good. or this quarterback this, or this quarterback that. Like, we don't have to sit here and act as if, there hasn't been issues with Daniel Jones, right? So here's what I'll tell you. Whenever one of us, people who've never played the quarterback position at the highest level, whenever we say something about Daniel Jones, you know what it is? It's from a perspective that most will not respect. Even me, I coach the game, I coach quarterbacks, I've played the game, I was a receiver, so I was intimately involved on the football field with quarterbacks. But even me, when I give you a quarterback take, it's not going to hit the same. But when Tom Brady says it, you just got to go, okay. And guess what? Guess what? Daniel Jones has to go, okay, and then go, I'll show him. Because football is the ultimate show me type of team, right? So I think football allows us to see people prove us wrong. Football allows us to see the things that help us prove them wrong. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Daniel Jones can prove anybody wrong. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do that. I'm looking forward to seeing which one of these tight ends begin to emerge, right? I was really impressed with Jackson last week, but Jackson got reps because the other guys didn't really get as many reps. I want to see what Theo Johnson looks like, because everybody has been on this Theo Johnson train. Even my guy Emery Hunt thinks that Theo Johnson was a steal for the Giants. My problem with Theo Johnson, didn't really show that he could be a great blocker at Penn State, or that he didn't show that he was a great blocker at Penn State. And in the passing game, he was kind of limited. You can have all the athletic tools and advantages and the size that all of the physical traits, all the athletic advantages, you can have all of that. But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, you have to be able to use those to win, right? So I haven't seen anything out of Theo Johnson in the preseason or in the training camp that tells me that Daniel Bellinger shouldn't be out here as tight end number one. I haven't seen anything in Theo Johnson yet that tells me he should have been drafted as a possible replacement for Daniel Bellinger. Because they're the same dude. Right now, they're the same dude. 6'5-ish, 6'6", whatever, 250-ish, whatever. Good athletes, right? Good athletes. Theo Johnson tested better, I believe. But when you look on the field, does he look faster? Does he look more explosive than Daniel Bellinger? I'm going to say no. Will he show something today in this preseason game that makes me go, oh, yeah, you know what? I can see it. Or will we leave this game and go, maybe they should keep an extra tight end as a blocker, right? Maybe they should keep him in as an extra blocker. Or not him in, excuse me. Keep one of those extra blockers. Keep a man Hurts, right? I do. And Ronnie, I'm with you. I think DJ has his best opportunity to be his best self this year, even coming off of a knee injury. I think the tools that he has in place with all of the receivers, right? Not just because there's a Malik Neighbors here, but because he still has a Darius Slayton, a veteran with Malik Neighbors, because he now has a third year Wan'Dale Robinson, who's not coming off of an injury, because he has a second year Jalen Hyatt, who's starting to learn the game. I think, like you, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. And contrary to popular belief, his career is not over, right? Like, he's going to get picked up by somebody. All of them do. Like, if you spend 6 years as a starter, you don't just go from 6 years as a starter to not being on anybody's teams. That doesn't happen to quarterbacks like Daniel Jones. Might happen to some other quarterbacks, but not quarterbacks like Daniel Jones, right? But his time with the Giants is coming to an end. And I've said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. The performances that he has with the Giants, it's only for him to find another home. It's not for him to be with New York long term. That's over. I 100% believe that. And if somebody believes I'm wrong, I'd love to hear their theory. But here's mine, right? As we're almost 30 minutes away from kickoff. Daniel Jones has a great season this year, right? If he has a great season this year, going into the final year of his contract, after they saw what happened last time they gave him a contract extension, do they want to do that again? Or do they want to try to sell high? Do they want to Drew Bledsoe him? So if he goes out there and has a fantastic year, say he goes out there and throws for 4,000 yards and 25, 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, right? A fantastic year in Daniel Jones' world. Do they say, oh, we found him? Knowing that his best years have been followed by his worst years? Like, this is a pattern. Or do they go, hey, let's sell high. Maybe we can get a second round pick for him. A second and a fifth. A third and a fourth. A second and a what? It doesn't matter. But if we can get a second round pick for him and now get from up underneath that number and now go into the draft and get a rookie quarterback, now we're back on that rookie salary cap where we can use the money, where we can use that money to now go acquire the other finishing pieces to make this a Super Bowl contending team. Because that is the window to win Super Bowls for most people. It's during the rookie contract. Unless the quarterback is willing to do some financial maneuvering like Tom Brady did for years, right? So if he's able to do that, I mean, if he's able to have a good year, I still think he's gone. Now, if he's here and he has a great year and they go, yo, we're going to run it back, they're just going to run it back. But when he gets to that, when he gets beyond that 2025 season, they're not signing him to another deal. If anything, they'll franchise tag him, right? They'll tag him, trade him. They'll tag and trade him. If anything, they'll tag and trade him. But regardless of where it goes, he's in the final year, 2 years of his career as a Giant. If I'm wrong, I will be shocked. And it might not be because he's bad. If he's bad, we know it's over, right? If he's bad, it's done. But if he's good, then the incentive is to get him out of here before they lose him for nothing, right? Because they're not going to give him that kind of money. But all of that falls on his shoulders. All of it falls on his shoulders. All of it is, what will he do with this opportunity where he has, on paper, the best offensive line he's had, the deepest, most experienced offensive line he's had, more weapons at wide receiver than he's ever had, and what looks like a stable of backs that are good or serviceable, as opposed to just one back and then behind him a bunch of unproven or old and washed commodities. So we'll see what happens. And not for nothing, a defense that is supposed to be improved because the defensive coordinator was brought here to stop the run. Right? He was brought here to stop the run. Brian Dable said it on Hard Knocks. Look at this dude's numbers against the run. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. It'll be interesting to see how that takes shape. I am looking forward to it. I am excited. I can't wait for 1 o'clock. I know that you can't wait for 1 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I'm going to get you out of here so you can go and watch the Giants pregame and hang out and enjoy your Saturdays, hopefully with a beer and some food, some wings, some brats, whatever it is you like to put on the grill. Get a chance to watch the dress rehearsal for the New York Giants. And I will be back here on Monday talking about what we've seen today. Like I said, it's great. Hey, shout out to Ronnie Rivers for joining us and leaving some comments. Shout out to Jackson Black for joining us and leaving some comments. Really do appreciate it. All the rest of you, the fun doesn't stop. Go in the comments, leave some comments. I'll be looking forward to talking to you soon. I'll be responding in the comments. I try to get back to people whenever I can. Hey, we've got football back. So what could be wrong with the world? Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.